we'll be showing you how to make vegan matcha ice cream at home in 2 ways. In our first method, we'll use coconut cream to get a creamy green tea ice cream without whipping cream. For the second method, we'll use soy milk to make popsicle-like ice cream with a robust matcha flavor. With both our vegan matcha ice cream recipes, you won't need any eggs or an ice cream machine. For our first vegan green tea ice cream recipe, you'll need sweet condensed coconut milk or coconut cream, and matcha. You'll love this vegan matcha ice cream if you love the taste of coconut and a creamy texture that rivals a dairy-based matcha ice cream. Otherwise, feel free to skip to our second method using soy milk. Start by sifting your matcha powder into a bowl. You want to make sure that you've broken up any large clumps in the powder. As the taste of the coconut is quite strong, we're using double the amount of matcha that we normally use for our dairy-based matcha ice cream recipes. If you're not vegan, have a look at our green tea ice cream recipe where we use double cream to get a super creamy texture. Next, add in the sweet condensed coconut milk and combine it with the powder until you don't see any more lumps in the mixture. Once it's fully incorporated, you can add your coconut milk or coconut cream and whisk this together. Ideally, you'll want to use full-fat coconut milk so it will whip better and won't give you an icy texture. You want to look out for a coconut milk with over 60% coconut extract where possible. If you can't find this, coconut milk that has guar gum inside will also help thicken your vegan matcha ice cream too. In this video, we're using coconut milk that has 80% coconut extract. If you're adamant about getting a perfect texture without an ice cream machine, you can go the extra mile and separate the coconut milk into coconut cream and coconut water. To do so, just put your coconut milk in the fridge overnight. The cream part should end up on the top and the water at the bottom. Then all you have to do is just scoop out the top half of the cream to use. You'll need to hand whisk the coconut cream or coconut milk for about 5 minutes to add air to the mixture. But don't expect coconut cream to whip up too much like dairy, so you should end up with some soft peaks like this. Once it's done, pop this into the fridge to freeze for an hour. But as there are no eggs, no whipping cream in this recipe, there's a few more steps we need to do to get a creamy, no-churn matcha ice cream texture. After an hour, take it out and give it a whisk for a few minutes. We're trying to mimic the churning action of an ice cream machine by adding more air to the mixture and preventing large ice particles from forming. Pop this back into the plastic container to freeze for another hour. Then take it out again. At this point, the ice cream should be a bit thicker and have a more solid-like texture. If it's still soft, place it in the freezer for an extra 30 minutes until it firms up. Once it's firm enough, you'll want to repeat the whisking process at least one more time. So, whisk it together and then freeze it again for another 30 minutes. Then, take it out and whisk it again for a few minutes before chilling it completely. An alternative method to hand whisking is to use a blender. Instead of freezing the ice cream in a container, freeze them in an ice cube tray and blend them using a blender. Repeat this process as how you would if you were hand whisking. Our blender isn't strong enough to blend ice cubes, so we chose to hand whisk instead. Once you've either blended or whisked it for the final time, put this into a metal loaf pan or plastic container. For us, we wanted to make ice cream bars and popsicles, but whatever container or mold you decide to use, make sure to cover them up to avoid any freezer burns. Leave them inside the freezer for at least 30 minutes before you enjoy them. You can skip to the last part of this video to see the final results, but we'll be moving on to showing you our second vegan green tea ice cream recipe without a machine. The second method of making vegan matcha ice cream is to use plant-based milk like soy milk. Our recipe is great if you don't like the flavor of coconut. Using soy milk will give you a more neutral base flavor which will allow that matcha to really shine through. For our second vegan green tea ice cream recipe, here are the ingredients you'll need. Sweetened condensed coconut milk, unsweetened soy milk, and matcha. But as soya milk doesn't contain as much fat content, you won't get as creamy of a texture than using coconut milk. Instead, the texture will come out more popsicle-like. Start by sifting the matcha and then adding in your sweet condensed milk. Whisk it all up until it's well combined. Then pour in the soya milk and whisk together for a few minutes. You'll want to whisk until it's well combined, but you're not really looking for the mixture to thicken or whip up. Next, place the mixture into the freezer and let it freeze up for about an hour. After an hour, take it out and whisk the mixture for a few minutes. Then pour the mixture back into the same container and pop it back into the fridge. Let it freeze further for another 30 minutes to about an hour. Then take it out and whisk it together for the second time. Once you finish whisking, pop it into a container of your choice to freeze for at least 30 minutes before you're enjoying it. We wanted to make them into popsicles, so we're using an ice cream mold. Once you're ready, take them out of the freezer and let them sit for a few minutes at room temperature to soften. Pop them out of the mold to enjoy your vegan green tea ice cream. Let us know in the comments below which method did you try and how did you like the texture. Make sure to subscribe to our channel for more matcha recipes.